The following program contains adult content and sexual themes. Viewer discretion is advised. And it contains murder. Lots and lots of murder.
You stinking bastard.
People tell me, hey, you're gonna go die and go to hell. At least I'm not grown.
Time for 911, where's your emergency?
Oh, this is Sandy. For 31 Rock, Plymouth Road.
What's the
Send the
problem?
police. Send the police.
And he goes, don't be a hero, mate. And I said, I'm not trying to be a hero, but the police are coming.
One in the chest, one in the head. Fired by Detective Sergeant Roger Rogerson.
I was branching out. That's when the cannibalism started, eating of the heart and the arm muscle.
I would have nailed Carl Williams' hands to a coffee table and just pulled it out of his backside. Carl Williams is a wobbly bottomed little cherub-faced little boy whose life would be.
I'd harm someone each time I'd kill someone. There'd be an enormous amount, especially at first, enormous amount of horror, guilt, remorse afterwards. But then that impulse to do it again would come back even stronger.
Hi, I'm Barney Black.
And I'm Tara Saraban.
And we do Bloody Murder.
We're a weekly true crime podcast focusing on some of the lesser-known serial killers and crime stories from Australia.
And indeed, around the globe.
What will you be covering this week, Barney?
I've got a murderous wife who decides to chop up her husband.
Ah, well, we've all felt like it.
He's not very nice.
No, not nice?
Yeah, it's historical. It's from the 60s.
It's vintage.
It's vintage.
Cool.
What have you got, Tara?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll be talking about an Indonesian serial killer who was nicknamed the Singing Serial Killer because he liked to entertain court officials, fellow inmates, and the media by singing songs off the album he recorded in prison to them.
Wow, sounds like a dick.
Yeah, he's really loving the attention. He's like basking like a pig in mud.
I'm intrigued.
It's intriguing.
But before we get to that, let's field some of our listener questions.
I've actually got a listener answer.
Oh.
This is from Dev Isawam. Isawam. I'm not sure if it's a real name
Just
or a
rush
fake
through
name. Just say it angrily. That was your advice.
Isawam.
Dev Isawam. So he said, I just listened to episode 15 with the monster of Miramichi, and as a Canadian, I feel somewhat qualified to answer your question about the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and whether or not they're armed. That was indeed a question that we asked. We could have Googled it, but we decided to ask listeners and wait several days to find out what was happening. Anyway, he said they're definitely armed as much, if not more so, than the police in metropolitan areas in Canada. So they carry frozen meat in a big bag, I guess.
Bows and arrows.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are basically the police in all rural regions in Canada. So depending on what they're doing, they usually have a sidearm and sometimes a rifle. And he actually attached 2 pictures of their uniforms. And they looked so happy and friendly for policemen.
Well, they're not just red too,
No.
like you'd think, know, with that hat that they wear.
Yeah, it's kind of
What do they call
costumey,
that?
the Mountie outfit. I call it the Mountie hat. I think there's a cartoon bear that wears one as well, but I can't remember which one.
Smokey?
Yeah, well, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He was a
Nice.
ranger, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Tara, elephant titties are real.
I was waiting for you to gloat about this.
Come on.
Elephant titties are indeed real. I was wrong, and you were right, Barney.
And they're epic too.
Oh, they're spectacular.
There's nothing lovelier than a mother elephant.
Yeah, she's so fruity. She's about to fall off the vine.
Exactly.
Fecund is the term, I think.
Really? Is that a word?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Might have
Nice.
just made it up. Maybe I'm the one bullshitting you now.
Well, no,
Ugh.
you can't do anything to me now, Tara, because I'm in smug mode.
Oh, God. Oh.
It's the best mode to be in.
It's going to last for ages too, isn't it? I'm going to have
yeah.
to pry your head out of your ass with a crowbar later.
Can you smell that? That's smugness.
I certainly can smell your aroma of smug.
Enough about elephant titties. What else you got?
Okay. Oh, well, I've actually had a lot of cases suggested. We have. Not just me. I'm the one reading them, though, so I could just take them all if I wanted to. We've had a lot of cases suggested to us via our Facebook group and through emails. So thank you, everyone, for doing that. That was awesome. Someone suggested that we do Catherine Knight, but she has been done to death. by a lot of people. And yeah, she's a woman who she murdered her partner and then she like baked some of him and tried to feed him as a roast to his children at a family dinner.
She wasn't very nice.
No, she wasn't super nice. But yeah, we're trying to steer clear of cases that have been done a lot before. Although I did suggest that we swing by and grab the guy from Felon and Felon. All three of us can do it. And Cambo wants to come too. He's going to bring sausages. So we're going to do an Aussie true crime gangbang with Catherine Knight and some sausages.
Well, it's a dream.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I did actually get a new case from the suggestions though, so I'll be doing that next week.
Nice.
Yes.
So there's been a suggestion that I tell some people about what happened to my cat.
Jill Hitty Hurt said, I really want Barney to tell the story of his stolen cat in a fake Norwegian accent. And Cambo Ford jumped on board. He wants to know about that. Des Ackerman's in. Holly Marie Dunning said, I'd be fucking pissed if my cat got stolen. Rightly so, Holly. And our mate Dave said that he needs to hear that too. So I'm thinking you might have to give the people what they want.
Well, you know, I feel like a dancing bear told to ride that little bike.
Well, you generally look like one, so it's all coming together, isn't it?
Well, I don't know about the Norwegian accent, but I will tell you the story of what happened to my cat, because it is a crime, I guess.
Kind of. I don't know. We might have exaggerated.
Well, let me set the scene for you. I got this cat, Audrey, in 1995, and she was lovely.
She was the sweetest thing. She was tiny. She weighed about as much as a pen.
Yeah, or a highlighter.
Yeah,
maybe.
She was a tortoiseshell cat, and she was a real sweetheart.
Everyone called her Dersey.
Or Durders.
And she had this great scam going where she got fed a lot.
Yeah, a lot of variety. She had a lot of different houses.
She had secret families.
She did. She had several secret families.
She had several secret families. And these old ladies down the road, they're a mother and daughter. They're both about 150 years old.
I know, it's weird. They look the same age, so I can't tell who's the mother and who's the daughter. And they wear those hats with the ear flaps, but they don't
Even
just wear
in
them
summer.
in winter. They wear them all year round.
And they push their little, what do they call it, shopping cart
Yeah,
thing?
and they get mad at you because there's stuff in the way on the footpath sometimes, like things that fall off trees.
They get leaf blower people to blow the stuff off the footpath because it hurts their feet.
Yeah, they're kooky and they eat cats.
And they probably eat cats.
Oh, they do eat cats.
So yeah, they introduced themselves to me, and I can't remember their names. They were old lady names like Ethel and Dorothy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tara.
I remember
Tara's
these
an old
ladies.
lady.
Deirdre's a beautiful name.
It is hauntingly beautiful. So yeah, hello Barney, how are you today?
Oh God, was they Norwegian? I don't remember them being Norwegian.
They could have been.
Okay, fine. Okay, just go with it. People
Oh
want your
Barney,
Norwegian.
I think it's so important what you are doing.
Oh right, because you were like raising two little boys.
Yeah, I think that's what they were talking about.
And maybe they were talking about like how your pants were nice and tight on your butt, and they think it's really important because they like to see that.
We really like your pussy. She comes over, gets some food, we give her pats. And so Dersey would spend half her time there and half her time at home.
Oh, and the other half of her time all over the neighbourhood.
And so this was in 2011, 2010 or something. And
it'd have to be at least 11 or 12, I would say.
Yeah, so she was 15 or 16 years old. She was elderly. And I had one last night with her where she slept in my bed with her head on my pillow, under the duvet, dribbling and purring away. And I remember patting her on the head and saying, "Oh, you're a lovely girl, aren't you?
She had a loud
Who's a
purr
lovely
for
girl?"
a little cat.
And that was the last time I saw her because she went the next day down to the old ladies. And
well, we assume it was the old
No, they
ladies.
told me that she came over to get something to eat.
And they were hungry, so they
And
ate her.
they said, then a wolf had chased her down the road and she ran up a tree. And then we went inside and we came back out and she was gone. And she was gone.
Yeah.
And when I never saw her again.
No.
So I don't know. I think the old lady stole her. I don't know if they ate her, but
I feel like if they'd actually stolen her, unless they were keeping her hostage, she'd still come back to visit because it's only a few doors down.
and they gave me a small porcelain elephant.
I remember the porcelain elephant.
I still
in the
have it.
mailbox. I know.
I will photograph it and put it up on our Facebook group if you want to see this small porcelain elephant.
I actually think that they were like bargaining with you, and they think that was like they bought your cat for a personal elephant, a porcelain elephant.
Yeah.
So you're actually complicit in that exchange because you accepted the elephant.
Well, yeah.
Did it have a good rack though? No,
it didn't. It was a boy elephant, I think.
Well, it must have been because it just didn't have those titties.
Hey, Tara.
Yes, Barney.
You know, there's a new swear that's pretty popular at the moment. It's shit in a bucket.
Okay.
That's just what you say.
No. Okay.
You say shit in a bucket. And you were saying that's not a swear. That's something you've made up, Barney. It's
You made
not
this
a thing.
up ages ago, dude.
And then
it has not taken on.
And I said, look, my girlfriend uses it, and you said only when you're making love.
That's the only time I can think of when it would be relevant.
Shit in a bucket, Barney.
Oh, God. Okay, so I think the whole reason you wanted to do a podcast was so that you could make shit in a bucket happen. Hey?
Shit in a bucket is a thing.
It's not. Although I found like a little bucket that one of his kids' toys had with it, and I put like a piece of chocolate in there and presented it to Barney and told him, here's your shit in a bucket. You liked that.
I did like that. Thank you.
So yeah,
Appreciate
okay.
that.
I guess if you want to make Barney happy, I don't know, tweet him shit in a bucket at Barney Danger.
No.
Yeah.
And if something's a really good fit, you say like a bum in a bucket.
That's not a thing either, Barney.
Yeah, that's a thing.
No, it's not.
Hey, at this point, I'd like to thank our patrons.
Oh yeah. We have people that do that. It's awesome. Thank you.
Holly Andrew, thank you. Sean Whelan, thank you. David Laity, thank you.
Thank you indeed.
And if you'd like to support us, just Google Bloody Murder Podcast. That's with just one bloody. And visit our Podbean page and just click on the Patreon button. And there are some sweet, sweet benefits to be had.
Oh yeah. You can get pieces of Barney's cat. You can have him make up stupid ways of swearing for you.
Yeah.
They're basically just involving Barney as a task monkey, I
believe.
You
know, it's extra content and porcelain elephants.
Yeah, they're easier to post than actual cats. So yeah, thank you very much for your support, people. It does allow us, well, it doesn't yet, but it will soon, allow us to spend more time working on the show and coming up with more shit in a bucket for you all. Great, now I'm saying it.
There you go.
Oh, motherfucker, you got me.
Yeah, potty mouth.
People love my potty mouth.
Okay, Murphy Brown, what's your murder?
I don't know why he calls me that, but he calls me that. And you know what? Out of all the other things he calls me, it's actually a compliment, so I'm accepting that one.
Suddenly Susan. Remember that show?
I remember.
With Brooke Shields?
Yes, because he tried to call me Suddenly Susan. I shut that one down like I shut down Vanilla Slice.
Yeah,
remember
that's
when
right.
you tried to call me Vanilla Slice?
You don't
for a
have any
while?
nicknames. That's why.
Yeah, I remember I had a few. Because my name's Tara Saraban. I had my Taliban stripper name, which was Tartar's Taliban. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. What was the title fire band?
Total Fire Band, Totes FB.
Totes FB. I like that one.
What about you? What are your nicknames? So everyone just calls you fucker. Yo, pig fucker.
No, that's what you call me.
Granny
No, there's
fucker.
plenty you can do with Barney. Benelski, Barnyard, Barnstorm.
Yeah, but there's some that you really hate, right? Like Barnsey.
No, you can't call me Barnsey.
What happens if someone calls you Barnsey?
Well, I'll figure out the worst thing to call you and I'll call you that back.
Ooh,
Yeah.
threatening behaviour.
No.
You're so tough. Do you
Okay,
want to hear
fuck.
about my murder?
Yeah, come on, fuck pig. Tell us your murder.
Fuck pig. Actually, he did try to make that happen, but again, I tried to shut it down. Okay. I'll be talking about... No, we already know that. I'm just going to jump in. So this guy goes by the name of Rian, but he was born very Idham Henyesa on the 1st of February 1978 in Jombang, Indonesia, which is a farming region. But you probably knew that.
Oh, I knew that.
Didn't you, fucker?
Yeah.
Jombang is a very religious town, with most of its occupants being of the Muslim faith. In fact, over 87% of the population of Indonesia identify as Muslim. Big Muslim country. This will become relevant at some point, I hope. His father was a security guard in a sugar factory.
Sweet.
Yeah, and his mother was
Get
a
it?
garment trader.
See what I did then?
I got it. Are you going to point out every time you make a little joke? Because this episode's going to run long.
Keep going.
Fine. His mother was a garment trader who travelled a lot.
You give me this goat, I'll give you some pants.
Is she Norwegian too?
You give me this goat, I'll give you some pants.
Okay, so you think that's what a garment trader is? They just go around looking for stuff they want and offer clothing for it.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they want. A lot of the time they just want money.
But sometimes they want goats.
Who doesn't want goats? Have you seen those little baby goats? The ones
They're really cute.
They're pretty cute.
We had a goat when I was a kid. Its name was Mutton Curry for reasons. When I was like 3 or 4, it was exactly the right height to headbutt the shit out of me constantly. It was a very mean goat. Gave me a lot of headaches.
Did you feed it a plastic bucket?
No, that's how I killed a cow, not a goat.
Yeah, tell them that story. That's a pretty cool story.
When I was 4, I killed a cow. That woman who said I'm a psychopath is probably she probably stopped listening, and now she's gonna listen.
You
again
didn't mean to
this
kill
bit.
the cow.
No.
You just, yeah.
We'd been to the beach, and I left my plastic bucket and spade downstairs, and we lived on a property that had cows, and one of the cows came up to the house and ate it. I mean, it was a pretty fucking stupid cow. It was a hot pink bucket and spade made of plastic, and then the cow died, and then the farmer got really mad at my mom, so my mom got mad at me. But I killed a cow, so, pretty fucking powerful as a child.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good thing to do at all, but it was an accident. Anyway, Rian said that his parents openly had affairs in the family home and forced his older sister to marry their mother's boyfriend, who was a middle-aged man. He said as a child he witnessed his mother and his sister's boyfriend banging in the bathroom.
Oh, hasn't everybody seen that?
Well, I don't have a sister, so it was like my mum banging my brother's wife. No. It wasn't that.
Keep digging, Tara.
Yeah, I would, but you're using my bucket to shit in. And so there's nowhere to put it. So anyway, his parents deny all of that. They're like, and his mother said that ever since he was very young, every time she had to travel for work, he would tell her that he knew it was just because she was actually going to see her boyfriends. So, he could go on together with suspicious minds. Rian said, as a child, I felt disappointed in my family and relatives. Over time, all the hurt I felt built up. In a way, it shaped my personality. Physically, I seem gentle and kind, but inside of me, I'm tough. No one really got to see this side of me. Oh, but they do, Rian. They do get to see that side of you. Growing up in a small town, he dreamt of living in a big city. You and me both, dude. He said he was rarely happy as a child and spent a lot of time alone in his room. So I guess he was like a teenager.
So like any other teenager,
yeah,
really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, he's a special, unique snowflake. Rian knew from an early age that he was homosexual. Although it's not illegal for same-sex relationships in Indonesia, it is considered a sin, as apparently it goes against the teachings of Islam. Islam is not into RuPaul's Drag Race, from what I hear.
Hey, you know how you said unique snowflake just then? Mm-hmm. I saw this study a couple of years ago. These scientists found 2 snowflakes that were exactly the same. I love that.
That's pretty cool. I like that you were doing jazz hands while you were telling me about it.
Well, I was trying to make my hands like snowflakes.
Oh, but they're both the same kind of. So was that your point?
Keep reading, cracker.
Oh, great. Now I'm a cracker. So Rian considers himself to be a very religious man and also a gay man. So that would have been a really difficult paradox to grow up with. And it did lead to a lot of anger and frustration. So, look, I have some sympathy for him growing up as a gay Muslim in a small town. That would definitely be a head fuck.
Yeah, it's a hard life, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my gay friends had a difficult time growing up in small towns here, and we're not even a super religious country. But my sympathy is finite. Rian is a violent narcissist who doesn't give a fuck about anyone but himself. All of this will become clear. What was that noise my throat just made? Maybe you could get rid of that in editing.
I'll try.
It was like literally a frog, I believe.
Yeah, it went.
Maybe there's a chicken in there. Nailed it. I keep struggling over his name as it's actually spelled like Ryan, R-Y-A-N. That's why I keep almost fucking it up. So he preferred school to home and was a well-behaved student who got good grades. His former high school principal said Rian had many friends in school. In his class, there were girls and boys. His friends were mostly girls, but there were no signs of trouble from the boys. Did you have a mix of friends growing up, or were you mostly like boys or girls?
Oh, they were mostly boys until I discovered booze and boobs. And then that was the end of my sporting career too.
Yeah, I think it's been the end of a lot of people's sporting careers, particularly the booze bit.
Yeah.
But I meant like friends. I didn't mean like who you wanted to
know.
know.
I was terrified of women when I was a young teenager.
Well, that's probably because they have teeth in their vaginas.
Oh, only Madonna. And Snooki, maybe.
Oh, Snooki doesn't get a lot of love on this podcast.
And George Washington's wife. What was her name? Martha? She had wooden teeth in her vagina.
I believe George whistled them on the front porch. So Rian got such good grades in high school that he was accepted into medical school, but he couldn't afford to go, and that would have been a big disappointment. At 19, Rian started studying the Quran and would do so for the next 9 years. The man who taught him was older than he was, and the two became lovers. Ooh. This came to a staggering halt when his teacher got married to a woman. Tooth vagina, tooth vagina. It's apparently quite common for young men in Muslim countries to have gay relationships, but then the pressure from their families forces them to suppress their homosexuality and get married and start breeding. So that's like a thing.
Oh, that happens everywhere, I guess, too.
Well, I mean, especially in a country where you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, really not supposed to. When the teacher left Rian for a woman, it made him very angry and may have been a trigger for him as he started killing within a year. He said, "I think the first murder has something to do with our separation." But I don't believe a lot of what he says, so it's hard to know.
Yeah.
The teacher denies that there was ever any relationship, but like it's not like he's going to admit it, is it?
Well, no, I guess not.
He said, "My kindness was perceived differently. I didn't know he was gay, but my suspicion grew when I met his friends. They looked effeminate."
Well, my suspicion grew when we touched bums.
That would make someone's suspicion grow.
Because that's how it works, right?
Yeah, lingering touch of the bum. He says he was manipulated by Rian, who told him that he had brain cancer and wouldn't live long. So let me touch your bum. And he also said that he told him he was adopted. So, look, I don't know who to believe here. This one's like, I don't know. I don't know. Rian was an aerobics instructor who claims to have been a model. But I haven't seen any pictures of him modelling that look more professional than the ones you'd get in a shopping mall or would force a bored friend to begrudgingly take of you. So he's no Naomi Campbell, even though he does share some character traits with her.
So pretty much the photos that you upload every Thursday.
Pretty much those photos. Yeah, I'm running out of those.
I'll find some.
Yeah, it's funny. We didn't. Oh, well, there's some on your computer, aren't there? I don't have a lot of them. Most of my photos of me and Chris at 3 a.m. looking fucking evil. Don't know why we did so many photos. I think because we were always the last one standing if you weren't around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the magic happened, when you weren't around.
Yeah, I know. And I'm all right with it.
So, on July 12th, 2008, several suspicious-looking bags were found on the roadside in Raganan, South Jakarta. Concerned citizens contacted the police. When they investigated, the police were horrified to discover that the bags contained pieces of a man's mutilated body that had been cut up into 7 bits. In one bag, there was a head. Another bag contained a torso, and each bag housed other body parts. The piece that contained the guy's butt was particularly gruesome as it had been skewed through the anus with a crowbar.
What?
Mm-hmm. It was a butt popsicle.
That's not how you change a tyre.
Certainly isn't. Forensic tests were conducted on the body, and they revealed that it belonged to a 40-year-old married businessman named Henry Santoso. After 3 days investigating the case, the police traced Eddie's last known whereabouts to Rian. They'd gone through all this stuff and they found like a note about the rendezvous. So Rian lived with his boyfriend Novell in the middle-class neighbourhood of Depok, South Jakarta. When the police went to interview him, they saw that Henry Santosa's car was parked outside his apartment block.
Wow, it's a mastermind criminal going on here.
Yeah. They also he was too busy looking in the mirror and jerking off to actually hide the car. They also discovered Rian had been using Henry's credit card and had taken $500 US from his bank account.
Shit in a bucket.
Rian and his boyfriend Novell were arrested, and Rian confessed to the murder. On July 11th, 2008, Rian had brought Henry back to his place. He was a friend that he'd known for 15 years but hadn't seen in a long time. They were hanging out, and Rian showed Henry some pictures of his boyfriend. Apparently, Henry thought Novell was a hot piece of man candy.
That's what Barney means in Australian.
It means hot piece of man candy?
It does?
Well, you know I was wrong about the elephant titties, so I'm just going to go along with this one.
Yeah, you know what Tara means in Australian? Shit
what?
in a bucket.
You're such a fucking asshat, mate. So, Right, Rian showed Henry some pictures of his man candy boyfriend, and Henry told Rian that he wanted to have sex with him, even offering him money and a car to let him do so. Whether or not this actually happened.
Offered him a car?
Yeah.
Right.
Have my car, here's some money. I really just want to bang your boyfriend.
All right, let's touch bums. I'll give you a car.
You might need to Google some gay shit because you're not quite getting it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Seriously, Google gay shit. Google image gay shit. I think you'll come up with something nice.
Really?
Yes. So Rian is using the rage he felt at this indecent proposal as his reason for murdering his friend. Just like the movie Indecent Proposal. Robert Redford wanted to sleep with Demi Moore, so Woody Harrelson killed him and cut him into 7 bits, skewered his anus with a crowbar, and scattered him along the roadside.
I haven't seen that film, but I don't believe that actually happened.
No, that's exactly the plot of the movie.
Okay.
So he said, I can't explain how it happened. I was furious and jealous. I only realized he was dead after I saw cut up pieces of his flesh on my lap. The blood, the bad smell. Rian stabbed him several times and beat him to death with a crowbar prior to,
Yeah.
So suddenly I was gripped with extraordinary fear. All I wanted to do was get rid of him, he said. So he dragged Henry's lifeless body to the bathroom and spent an hour chopping him up into 7 pieces, which he put into the bags and dumped by the roadside.
Well, as you do.
Well, if you can think of a better way to deal with this situation, I'd certainly like to hear it.
Absolutely.
4 days after his arrest, Rian started talking about his other murders. On July 20th, 2008, police escorted Rian to his parents' house in Jombang, East Java, to reenact the murders. So before he moved in with Novell, he was actually living with his parents for a while.
Okay.
Now, they found plastic bags with the victim's possessions, a hammer with blood traces on it, and a bone fragment in his bedroom. They excavated his parents' backyard and found 4 bodies. This became like massive front page news in Indonesia. Like all the papers were constantly talking about it. Unfortunately for me, they were talking about it in Indonesian. So it wasn't the easiest case to research.
You could have learned Indonesian.
Well, in the past few days.
Yeah. How hard could it be?
What, the way you've learned how to do a faultless Norwegian accent.
Exactly.
Shit in a bucket yourself. So they excavated his parents' backyard and found the bodies, which they sent for forensic identification. They kept on digging and they eventually uncovered 6 more. Rian confessed to all 11 murders. His first victim was an old friend named Gunter Setio Pramono, who visited him at home in April 2007 and decided to stay the night, which was a bad idea.
Gunter's a nice name.
It is a pretty nice name. This is Rian's account of the murder. He was some transvestite's secret lover. I didn't like seeing him, irritated at being someone who's being kept secretly. He was asleep and I was watching TV. Then he asked to be taken to the toilet. He took a very long time and I fell asleep at the foot of the door. Suddenly I had this evil intention to kill him.
The foot of the door of the toilet.
Yeah, like the guy took so long in the freaking toilet that he fell asleep outside.
Maybe he was reading a sweet magazine. I like to read on the throne.
Really? I don't need to spend that much time in there that I'm going to get any decent reading done.
No.
Is that like a guy thing or is it just like a guy who eats too many sausage rolls thing?
Oh, no, I'm not in there for too long.
Long enough to read. Look, I know it's a thing. I just can't really...
Sometimes I have to warn my girlfriend when I come out. I say, Captain's log, extra stinky.
Oh, does that mean don't go in there?
Yeah.
She would probably know by now.
Yeah. And she goes, oh, God, oh, Barney.
Why did she go in there? And why is she slightly Irish?
Oh, what have you done in there, Barney? What's the shite's going on?
Okay. I don't even know where I am anymore. He fell asleep at the foot of the toilet door. How could I forget that?
That's right.
Anyway, this is Rian. He said, suddenly I had this evil intention to kill him, so that's what I did in the bathroom of my house.
Okay, so it's one of those toilets that's inside a bathroom. Hasn't got its own little room, I guess. So there's a bath in there as well and a shower.
No, I think he was in the toilet and then he waited for him to come out and killed him in the bathroom. I don't think it matters, does it?
No, I guess not.
So completely unprovoked, Rian beat him to death with a metal hoe, which eventually cracked his skull and killed him.
A metal hoe?
A metal hoe. Are you picturing like a slutty girl who likes heavy metal music?
Yeah. Animal jail.
I like your Slayer impression. It's accurate. Accurate as fuck. So Rian didn't know what to do. So he buried his body in the backyard. And then he killed again the very next afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, he must have been like, that was good.
Yeah.
Get me some more of that. So Augustinus Fitri Setuian is not how you say this guy's name, but I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
I know your advice is to say it angrily, and
Yeah.
that's how you get through it. Okay. Augustinus Fitri Setuian was his next victim. That was better, actually.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Rian said that he was infuriated due to a false accusation he'd made of him, so he bludgeoned him to death in a fit of rage and buried the body in his parents' backyard again.
So why did he kill him?
Apparently, I'm not going to say his name. Apparently, the other dude falsely accused Rian of something. Like, maybe you are a good person. That would be a false accusation.
Yeah.
That would probably provoke him to fly into a fit of rage. Anyway, so he buried him in the backyard again. And so I'm guessing that neither of his parents were avid gardeners. Did I just say neither of his parents were avid gardener? Because that's what it sounded.
Avid gardeners.
That's what it sounded like in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's true. They weren't avid gardeners.
I'm pretty sure they weren't. But he does have good cheekbones. So, yeah. They didn't notice that he was sort of working on a makeshift cemetery in their backyard. My mum would have been all like, why did you bury him there? If you'd buried him near the mango tree, his decomposing body could fertilise the herb garden, Tara.
I once asked my mum, can I have a little bit of the garden? Because she was right into the gardening. Can I have a little bit of garden so I can grow some plants, you know? Because I was kind of into gardening.
Were you
I was
trying to grow
I was only
weed?
about 12 or something.
Oh, you were just being a sweet little kid?
Yeah, and she gave me this bit down the back of the house, completely in the dark.
With rocks.
With rocks. Of course, nothing grew there.
No, it was barren.
It was barren.
Just like your future. That's what she was trying to tell you.
You're barren.
Actually, I may well be. But what business is it of yours?
I don't know. I don't care.
Don't bring my womb into this, fucko. So, all right. He murdered another 6 men in the same fashion over the next 8 months. According to Rian, it was often jealousy or unwanted romantic overtures that drove him to kill. Like, this guy plays the victim card hard. He's all like, oh, they hit on me. They touched my special place, so I killed them. Like, he should maybe try being a woman at some point and just see how that works out for him.
Yeah.
He said most of the victims were gay men like me. They made me feel cheap. I got angry. We fought and I accidentally killed them. So, yeah, he accidentally killed 11 people.
This sailor kissed me once.
Did you accidentally kill him?
No.
Is that you in that famous picture at the end of the war where that sailor's kissing?
Well, he was in a uniform, very similar, but it was in a pub in Sydney, and I was just at the bar, and my friend was with me, and then he went off to the privy,
the toilet.
The bathroom, and then this sailor came up to me, grabbed me, and kissed me on the mouth, and then I went, what? And he walked away and left.
Kiss and run.
And then my friend came out, and he goes, he said, how's it going? I said, oh, did you just like what? And I was trying to explain to him what just happened, and he went, nah, Barney, that didn't happen.
Oh, no one believed you about the
believed
sailor.
Me. That sailor did kiss me.
And is that when you first got mouth herpes?
No, I had that already.
Do you think you gave the sailor some herpes?
I hope so.
That's a bit fresh.
It is a bit fresh. Sydney's like that, though.
Well, it depends what neighbourhood. Were you on Oxford Street? Because I could imagine that maybe being a thing.
I was in Newtown.
No. Well, it depends on the era. When I lived there, it was more likely that like someone grungy would touch you on the flano, but that was about it.
Is that what you call it now, the flano?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of flano.
Is that short for flange?
Flano, short for flange. Is that the same amount of letters, or is flange more letters?
Some women call their bits flange.
Flange. Flangela Lansbury, that's what I call mine. Murder, she wrote.
Yeah.
So anyway, Flangela Lansbury, excellent. That's my new name for
Murder
it.
She Spoke by Flangela Lansbury.
I'm not talking with my mouth on my head right now. I'm talking with my other lips. So after the first murder, it was like I didn't feel any burden when I killed again. This isn't me talking. This is like a Rian quote.
Yeah.
I knew how it should be done. Subsequently, when each died, I figured out what to do from the start. Based on experiences, I knew what to expect. As it progressed, the burden lessened. Basically, you're saying, I don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. In 2008, Rian met Grady Adam at a salon. He was described as wearing boots and behaving in a butch manner. So nothing like you. Rian was attracted to him.
Wait, what?
And took him home to his parents' place, which is very sexy. Don't be too loud, Grady. Mum and Dad are banging randoms in the other rooms. He didn't really say that, but you know how he's like reckons that his parents were really promiscuous. I'm just saying it could happen.
I've had worse first dates.
Oh, God, I've had worse relationships that lasted years. They spent the night together, then Rian beat him to death with an iron rod and buried him in his own personal cemetery in his folks' backyard. So how are his parents not noticing any of this is my question. I guess they're too busy just banging randoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. A cock in every eye. They can't see an ear. They can't see or hear anything.
Wow. And he holds a goal.
Yep. Cock in an eye socket. That's the new shit in a bucket. Did you know that?
No, it's not.
The next day, he wore the T-shirt that Grady had been wearing, which was just a weird thing to do.
Well,
after you
his
kill someone.
other T-shirt had blood all over it.
I think he had more than one shirt. He probably made his mum do his laundry. Anyway, soon after he met 32-year-old Nanik Hidiati at the gym. He befriended her and took her and her 3-year-old daughter Sylvia home with him. Don't go. They hung out for a few hours. Then apparently she found some nudes Rian had taken of himself on his phone, which I'm assuming he used to jerk off over. Jerking off, looking at naked pictures of himself.
Well,
Woo!
lots of people do that.
Really? You're saying you do it, aren't you?
No.
So believable. He said that she asked him to sleep with her. The way Rian tells it is, I pushed her and she said, is it true that I heard you are gay so I could never sleep with you? I hated her for that and was very angry, so I hit her on the head with a stone until she died. I do that to any guy who hits on me.
Seems like a little bit of an overreaction.
Oh, yeah. What do you think happened to the daughter, though, darling? He did this in front of her 3-year-old daughter, Sylvia, who started to scream. This is Rian talking again. The child kept screaming, so I had to kill them both. It is a big blow for me because I love small children. Yeah, Rian, it's a big blow for you. I know.
What a douche.
Totally just wanking the whole time.
Awful.
Yeah. Autopsy reports reveal most of the victims died from skull fractures, which does confirm Rian's version of events about how he killed them. So he was sentenced to death by firing squad for Henry's murder, and it doesn't look like they're going to bother trying him for the others.
Did he bury them in the backyard too? Oh,
He buried everyone but Henry, because by then he wasn't living with his folks anymore. He was living with his boyfriend Novell, and I guess they didn't have a yard. It's my forensic guessing. So in February 2009, he released an autobiography titled The Untold Story of Rian. The book features a map of the backyard of the family home in rural East Java, which Rian drew himself. I mean, it's not like it's a great drawing.
I studied cartography as well.
No, but I think he thinks that everything he does is just awesome, so he's probably pretty proud of it. In between a septic tank, a chicken coop, and a fish pond are shown the graves of 10 of Rian's alleged victims, marked with the letters that correspond with their names in the margin of the map. He actually said that he considered 5 of the victims to be friends.
Yeah.
And then there's his album, My Last Performance.
Oh, wow.
Basically, this guy's basking in all of the attention he's been getting since he was arrested. In a way, it seems like a dream come true. Yes, Rian, you truly are a special, special boy. Shortly before its release in 2009, Rian held court in his jail cell, dressed in flowing white robes and a matching Muslim skull cap, and sang a rendition of one of his songs for an appreciative crowd of court reporters, local residents, court officers and reporters. Do you want to sing that line for me? I think it'll work better in your voice.
Okay.
This is one of Rian's songs that he sang.
Release me, forget me, release me from these shackles.
Ah, that was hauntingly beautiful. Thank you. And then he said, enough for now. You can get my album soon. Sue Hardy, a fellow prisoner, was one of many taken in by his charisma. I read about him in the newspapers, and I'm curious to see how he looks in person. He's young, handsome, and looks like a superstar. It's hard to believe someone harmless looking could do so much evil.
I think he's douchey and looks like a sack of dicks.
Well, he is douchey and he acts like a sack of dicks. Also, you know what? Like, he's not ugly or anything, but he's not all that either. He's no Naomi Campbell. The authorities seem to be bemused by Rian's star status, but they allow a steady stream of visitors to stop by his cell to have their photographs taken with him.
I'm sure he's not as handsome as Ron Perlman.
No, well, no one's as handsome as Ron Perlman. Except that picture of the dog that also looks like Ron Perlman.
I've seen a picture of a cat that looks like Ron
No
Perlman
way.
too.
How could a cat look like Ron Perlman? But
Well-
I believe you after the elephant titties.
That's true.
All right, I got to have a look at cat Ron Perlman. I found some dogs that look like Hitler the other day. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there's a whole site dedicated to that.
No, well, there was cats that look like Hitler, but the dogs that look
Oh,
like
dogs
Hitler
that
are
look like
lesser known.
Yeah, right.
It's like underground. It's for like really like, you know, out there kind of people, edgy folk.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's just stupid. Anyway, there have been no objections to Rian profiting from his book and his album. It is the right of the accused to write a book and make a music album. No problem, said Deputy Attorney General Abdul Hakim Ratonga. The accused, like any other artist, also has the right to claim royalties from the sale of a book or an album. Indonesia does not prohibit that. So if you're a fame-hungry, entitled, murderous fuckknuckle, maybe try to get yourself put away in Indonesia.
Yeah, well, they do have some pretty severe death penalty kind of stuff. You can get death penalty for unpaid parking tickets, pretty much.
Yeah, but you can also release an album about it. You know, you can just be Taylor Swift in jail there. They're cool with it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. So in October 2010, Rian announced that he was planning to marry a female convicted drug dealer, Eni Wijaya, who he met in 2008 when they were both detained in Jakarta. He said he's marrying her despite being homosexual to fulfill his mother's wish that he be married to a woman and because he thinks that she really loves him. Jesus Christ, Eni. Manson's single again now. Maybe send him a letter. Anyway, Rian is trying to appeal his death sentence. This is really like, I've never heard of this particular reason for appealing before. He's saying that he should be found insane on the grounds that he's a psychopath. No. In presenting the evidence, lawyer G. Nyoman Ray told the court that his client was a psychopath and that a Canadian psychiatrist had formally diagnosed him based on his lack of remorse or sensitivity. While not a formal DSM disorder, psychopathy is characterized by glibness, superficial charm, a grandiose sense of self-worth, lack of remorse, pathological lying, lack of empathy, impulsivity, poor behavior control, and other factors linked to aggressive narcissism and a socially deviant lifestyle. Essentially everything I'm looking for in a man.
Wow, is that on your Tinder profile?
If I were to have one, yeah. While not considered a major mental illness by most mental health professionals, prisoners in the UK who are diagnosed with psychopathic personality disorder have been sentenced sometimes to maximum security psychiatric hospitals as an alternative to prison.
Well, they've got a lot of other shit wrong with them as well, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Psychopathy is, you know, that's not enough.
No.
To be declared insane.
It
You've got to
isn't.
not know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And he obviously did because he was hiding the bodies.
Yeah, he's clutching at straws, man. While the US case law allows for the detention of sexually violent predators in psychiatric hospitals, sometimes if they have other issues, the use of psychopathy as an insanity defense remains controversial in most jurisdictions. Prior to Ryan's case, the use of psychopathy diagnosis as an insanity defense has never previously been presented in an Indonesian court. His dad's jumped on board the psychopath appeal train too, saying, his emotions cannot be managed. If he was in a good mood, he can be very good, but if he was touched by words that did not please him, he would become extremely angry. He cannot control between being patient and being cruel. He cannot control himself. If that's actually true, like, as you were saying, why didn't he, like, you know, why did he hide the bodies?
So have I said panties to you?
Ah!
Yeah, exactly. Shit in a bucket.
What are you trying to do now? Do you know I'm coming near the end of this and you're just trying to fuck my shit up?
Well, no, but you're not like that. If I say a word to you, that's
I'm not going to kill you.
You're not going to kill me, are you?
No.
No.
Well, then I'd have to do the podcast alone. And I don't know how to work all the things.
I don't know. You could get the Colonel from History Globes.
I don't know if he knows how to work all the things either. But I mean, if he did,
Tim
I'd be
does.
there. All right, yeah. But Timmy's busy. Timmy's
Yeah, he
busy
is.
being the nicest guy on the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, if this was true, then why didn't he kill anyone in public or in front of a cop? If you can't control yourself, then you can't control yourself. If you're choosing when you do and don't control your behavior, then you are controlling yourself.
Absolutely.
Prosecutor Buddy Hatuan Panjati told the Depok District Court his crime was sadistic and merciless. He was fully aware and not hallucinating when he committed the murder and is not remorseful. There was some fear after each killing, but when nobody would find out, he would do it again and again. He's not a psychopath. He's just a naughty boy. Sorry, I don't know. Python came to mind. Did I even do it right?
Absolutely.
He knew what he was doing and he knew the consequences. He wanted Henry Santoso to die and he planned for it, he added. So this appeal has been ongoing for like 8 years and they have yet to decide it, but it seems unlikely to pan out.
Oh, he's still on death row?
Yeah, he is on death row, but he's living it up. People are coming over, taking selfies with him. He's singing to them. He's probably working on another album about, I don't know,
well,
other
enjoy
shit.
it while you can, fucktard, because you're about to
enjoying
get quite a few bullets in the head.
There would be a hole in his head, in his motherfucking head. Sorry, anytime I can quote Cypress Hill, I will.
Do it.
I just did.
A
hole in your head.
That was good, Tara.
Yeah, it was different. I try to find a variety of serial killers who kill like different kinds of people and do it in different places in the world. Because I'm a well-balanced young lady.
Oh, you're a woman of the world. You're a woman for all seasons.
I really am. I'm a woman for all killers. So yeah, that's my guy, and I don't like him much. I never like them though, do I? I mean, really.
Well, I think you might like this murderer.
Well, I'm all ears.
Okay. So, in the 1960s, Melbourne's inner city suburb of Fitzroy was not the hipster hangout it is today. There were no cool bars or coffee shops, that kind of thing.
Was there still that, like, Bimbo Deluxe and
no,
Veggie Bar?
No, Lentil as anything wasn't there.
Wasn't there either?
No.
What about Bar Open? Surely it was there.
No,
it's
Bar
been there
Open.
for ages.
No.
Okay.
So, as one of young Melbourne's first suburbs, Fitzroy may have started out with grand intentions with some very big houses and terraces. But as factories sprang up across the adjoining land, all too soon the mansions were turned into boarding houses and tiny, tumble-down working men's cottages.
Oh, that was a nice sentence.
Oh, thanks.
Tiny, tumble down.
There were pubs on every corner.
Hooray! See, there's something
and still,
good
a
was
lot
happening.
of them are still there. A lot of them have been turned into apartments now, of course.
Yeah.
But they were surrounded by flour mills, footwear factories, breweries, timber yards, and foundries.
Yeah, not a lot of foundries in Fitzroy these days.
No. So Fitzroy was dirt poor, desperate, and for decades had been considered a slum. Rough, it might have been, but it was also a great place for it to be a kid in some ways.
Yeah, because it had a pub on every corner.
Yeah, there was always plenty of action on the streets, and derelict houses and vacant lots were perfect places to get up to mischief.
Ooh, mischief. I don't know. It sounds like bad shit could happen there too. I'm not sure.
Which is exactly what two primary school kids, Edward and Terry, were doing on the afternoon of February the 26th, 1964.
They were drunk and getting up to mischief.
They had squeezed through an open window of a house in Grieve Street by peeling back
breaking and entering.
some corrugated iron.
Oh.
It was an abandoned house.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It was a great hiding place. But as Edward discovered to his horror, lying in some rubbish in the hallway of the house was a human body.
Ooh, there's a caper for the kids.
Albeit a body without a head.
That's an even bigger caper for the kiddies.
He yelled for his Terry to. He yelled for his friend Terry.
Where's my Terry?
Terry. He yelled for his friend Terry to come and have a look. So they poked.
Terry, come check this shit out.
So they poked it with a stick, and then they hot-footed it for home.
Oh, they poked it with a stick. That's cute. This is a bit Stephen King.
The two boys tried to tell their parents what they'd seen, but they were greeted with anger at getting home so late, so they were told to go to bed.
Oh, they didn't believe them?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What you making up these lies, you little scam?
Hang
Off
on
to bed with you.
Were they actually Irish, or is this just a Barney thing?
It could have been Irish.
It's a Barney thing, isn't
Go
it?
to bed, you little shite, gobshites. Go to bed.
Irish accent in a bucket, Barney.
Shit in a bucket.
Oh, no, it's taking over.
It wasn't until the next morning that they finally found an adult who was prepared to listen to their tale, a teacher from the local primary school, who took them straight down to the Fitzroy Popo and made them tell the coppers what they'd seen in the abandoned house.
Wow, I bet at this point they were starting to doubt themselves, poor buggers.
Hey, when I was younger, I used to go to the football, right? And Aussie rules football.
Yeah.
And the police be wandering around. The police would be wandering around the oval or whatever, the stadium. And whenever they'd walk past, someone would start singing, "What's that caliber 2 cent piece, copper?" And then everyone would join in.
Really, that was a thing that happened in the football in
what's that?
Australia in the 1920s when you were a kid.
Copper,
Wow.
copper, all coppers are cunts. All coppers are cunts.
Did they really sing that?
What's a colour of a 2-cent piece? Copper, copper.
Did they say the cunt bit? Or did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just
And
improv?
everyone just sang it at them.
Really?
And the coppers would just ignore it.
Wow. See, the thing is, nothing you say sounds true to me.
No, it's true.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to have to Switzerland this one. I'm just going to remain neutral. It's a good story whether it's true or not. How's that?
Thanks. So anyway, 2 policemen went to check out the scene and discovered that, yes, indeed, the boys were telling the truth, except it wasn't exactly a whole body, but 2 major parts of it.
Ooh,
One section comprising of the shoulders and the chest,
that's the best bit.
and the other one, the end of the pelvis. And from this...
Oh, did it have a crowbar up its butt?
No, it didn't. Anyway, the end of the pelvis showed the police that the victim was a fella.
Is that because it had a cock?
It had a cock.
All right.
Yes. The arms and the legs and the head and the whole of the man's middle section were missing.
Oh, whoops. Maybe he left them at home.
On examination of the bits that were there, police estimated the man had died within the last couple of days. Was probably middle-aged, about average height, 5'9" or so, and from his well-developed muscles,
Oh, it's you.
he was likely to be a manual worker, which isn't me, which fitted the type of person to be found in the area.
Yeah.
There was not much else to go on until a day later when 2 other boys stumbled on the next clue. Well, one of them actually fell upon it.
Wow, this is like a scavenger hunt for little boys.
I know. Less than a mile from the house in Greve Street where Edward and Terry had found the headless corpse, 2 older boys were idly amusing themselves by riding their bicycles around in an empty plot of land in the aptly named Gore Street.
Gore Street. I used to live in Gore Street.
Did you used to ride your bike on...
I didn't have a bike, but we actually had like heaps of friends who also lived on Gore Street. It was awesome. There was
I remember
like
those
several
days.
houses. Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Super fun.
So among the long grass, one of the boys took a fall and tumbled off his bike, his velocipede, as I would have called them in those days,
Probably.
only to land on a severed arm.
Ooh,
Nearby, the two boys found yet more body parts: a thigh, a left leg, and an arm, complete with a watch.
Oh, a watch.
I wonder if they picked up an arm each and started slapping each
You
other.
know
with
what? They probably did on the butt. Ugh, stop it.
it. Oh, and they found some bits of a torso as well.
Yeah, it's less fun to hit your friend with a bit of a torso. Arms are the way
So
forward.
the coppers were called, and Gore Street was soon swarming with uniformed popo, determined to find who had brutally killed and dismembered the unknown man. It seemed obvious to everyone that the gruesome finds had been connected.
Ah, so they're good at jigsaw puzzles?
Yeah, they put it together. That's some mighty good police
No,
work.
hey, nice one, fellas.
Their biggest clue was the fact that some of the body parts had been wrapped in pages of the daily newspaper from the week before, which meant that the death had taken place around 24th of February 1964, just 2 days before the first grisly discovery.
Okay, the newspaper was 2 days before the
Yeah.
discovery. Alrighty.
So police widened the search. They thought that if the killer or killers had dumped the body parts in 2 close locations, chances are the rest will be found fairly nearby.
I know, it sounds like someone lazy might have been doing this.
Yeah. Sure enough, a pair of boots, overlooked during the first search, were found on the same vacant lot where the cyclist had taken his fall. Then the head and right arm were found in Rushall Reserve in North Fitzroy. Now the police had the head, most of the body and the limbs, but the identity of the murder victim was still a mystery.
Oh, I didn't have his name tattooed on his tramp stamp region?
No.
That's why you should do that.
Finding the head might have seemed the obvious case cracker.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, it was the trousers found along with the chest and pelvis
The revealing trousers.
in the derelict house that led police discovering the identity and the person who killed him.
How so? Did he have his name on his pants?
Well, yeah. Well, inside the pockets of the
Was
pants...
his name Calvin Klein?
Inside the pockets of his pants were a comb,
Well, he's a neat fellow.
and a key. The key was traced to a local Fitzroy key cutter, but proved too common to identify the owner. But unusual markings on the fabric of the pocket included the word Moloch.
Oh.
This was reported in the Herald afternoon paper, which led to a man coming forward to say that he knew a man of that name who lived at number 25 in a street somewhere in Richmond. Oh, yes. I know this Moloch fella, but he lives at number 25. I can't recall the street in which he lives, but I know that it's number 25.
So everyone in Melbourne at that point was Irish.
Somewhere in Richmond.
I lived in Richmond too. There's a lot of streets and there's probably a lot of number 25. So that sounds complicated.
Richmond was a worker suburb filled with many, many tiny worker cottages. But as this was the best clue police had yet to receive, they buckled down and began a neighbourhood door knock. An old-fashioned door knock.
On everyone who lives at number 25.
Yeah.
This is bizarre. I like it.
That's right. At 25 Elm Grove, Richmond, they found their missing man. Imre Malik, a 37-year-old Hungarian who had immigrated to Australia in 1957 and later brought out a woman who he described as his wife.
He described her that way? Does that mean that they weren't married?
Probably not.
Right.
But de facto.
Okay.
Common law. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Malik's landlord hadn't seen Malik for days, and he hadn't turned up to the factory where he was a process worker. Fingerprints were lifted from his bedroom and proved to be a match with those taken from the left hand found in Gore Street.
Ooh.
The woman known as his wife was nowhere to be found.
Oh, I hope she's all right.
Well, eventually Malik's wife was traced to a house in Gore Street, just down the road from the vacant lot where Malik's arm and boots had ended up. She was a woman called Vilma Broda. Aged 36, a factory machinist and the mother to 3 daughters, Sylvia, Margaret, Elizabeth. They were aged 3, 2 and 10 months, respectively.
Whoa, that's like being pregnant constantly and having a lot of little kids, isn't it? Jeez.
As it turned out, police were already familiar with the pair.
Oh.
Vilma had often complained to police of Malik's conduct towards her.
Oh, was he a violent fucker?
Yeah. First Constable Twining said he'd often been called on to go to Malik's home as a peacemaker when the couple was fighting.
Right. Is that sort of like, were they both fighting, or is that kind of a euphemism for he was beating the shit out of her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Malik's brother, Denzo Malik, a motor mechanic from Nidri, told police that Vilma had threatened to kill his brother. She had promised to do it for the children.
So he was messing with the kids too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is from newspaper reports at the time. And,
so you've got to read between the lines.
Exactly. Shortly after Vilma Broder was first questioned, their house was searched for proof of what had happened to Malik. Police found traces of blood on the walls, a blood-stained couch that had been hastily covered with a blanket.
Is that why your couch has a blanket on it?
No. And a blood-stained rag in the gully trap for the bath.
Right. Okay, so a lot of blood.
Yeah, it looked to police they'd finally found where Malik had been killed and dismembered. They'd always suspected that Malik had been killed somewhere else separate from where the various bits of his body had been found, given to the lack of blood at those sites.
Oh, right, yeah, because, I mean, dismembering someone's going to make a lot of that happen.
Yeah, when confronted by police, Vilma confessed immediately. Yes, I did it. And even
don't tell me she's Irish as well.
Oh, no, she's Hungarian.
Yeah, she's freaking Polish. I can do Polish.
No, it's Hungarian.
Okay, you said that she was Polish and he was Hungarian.
Did I?
You did.
Yeah, all right, sure.
I can actually do Polish accent because I have my friend Kasia who speaks Polish, and her accent is like Russian, but it's faster.
All right. Well, can you confess to this crime?
I did murder him because he was being very violent. He was violent and very not nice to the children, and so I make with kill him. We drink now.
All right, so Vilma did confess immediately and even showed them where she had hidden various bits of evidence associated with the crime, including some of his still missing body parts.
Oh, she hung on to a couple maybe. Maybe just the bit she liked, which clearly wasn't the cock because they found that.
What had gone on over the previous years was to prove equally shocking. Vilma Broder told police how she had been maltreated and sexually abused by Malik over the years they'd intermittently lived together. On the night of Malik's murder, she had been repulsed by an act which Malik had forced her to commit.
Oh, what, like watch American Idol?
Like a whole season.
Oh, Jesus, that is bad.
Yeah. This had gone on for several hours.
Well, it would. I mean, that's long. There's a lot of ads.
Yeah. The next morning, it started up again.
Oh, what?
And when Malik tried to stop her leaving for work, she had taken a hammer and hit him 3 or 4 times on the head.
Right on the bonds.
I hit him 3 or 4 times.
So I took hammer and I hit him 3 or 4 times on the head.
Yeah. Vilma left the house and spent the day at work.
Oh, what kind of a day at work would she have had after doing that?
Well, maybe she thought she didn't kill him, so she's probably thinking, I'm going to have an angry husband
when I get
home.
He's going to be he will be so pissed off when I get home.
On Vilma's return, Malik was still lying where she'd left him.
That's probably just as well for Vilma.
But he was a bit deader.
Right. Okay. Well, even better, I guess.
Yeah, terrified about what would happen to her children should she confess to police, Vilma took matters literally into her own hands. First, she dragged the body into the bathroom and somehow manoeuvred his dead-ass, wife-beaten fucking body into the bath.
He was very heavy, but was worth it in the end.
Yeah. Then she got stuck into the grisly work ahead. A razor blade and large knife, later handed over to police, was all she needed to section Malik's body into chunks small enough for her to carry.
A razor blade? How's that
Well, I'm
work?
thinking it was a straight razor or something.
Oh, right. I was picturing, like, one of those little ones. I was thinking, this chick, she's got some skills.
So, in the early hours of the morning, long after her children had gone to sleep, Vilma snuck out of her house and
scattered him like confetti.
So, yeah, strewing the parts of her husband in various areas around the suburb of Fitzroy.
Right, the body fairy.
At her first court appearance, she seemed the unlikely of newspaper headlines that had screamed, "Woman used razor blades to cut up body."
She didn't seem as though she would be the kind of woman who would cut up a body.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
butchered
saying?
body and bloodstains in house. That was
Well,
some of the headlines.
I would probably read that article.
The object of all this press frenzy looked demure in court at her bail
So she
hearing.
wasn't wearing like a little Hooters crop top.
No, and she expressed worry about the fate of her children.
Yeah, they're little ones too. They're all very little.
Justice Pascoe allowed for the option of bail for the stricken mother. Should she be able to come up with £500.
That's a lot back then,
A huge
right?
sum for most people at the time, and clearly well beyond a machinist's wage.
Mm.
A later application allowed her to spend time with her daughters, albeit from within prison.
The poor daughters. Their dad's like, I don't know what they would know about that being so young, but their dad's missing. Their mum's in jail. Well, their dad's murdered, but
Yeah, I guess they're
that
pretty
would
young.
be really scary. And also because these guys are immigrants. Like, I wonder if they had any family here to look after their kids.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of information on this.
Yeah, with the old ones, it's generally, unless they're quite famous, it's hard to find the info. Hey.
I think the public were really on her side. Anyway, the trial of Vilma Broda on October 1964 for the murder of her husband, Imran Malik, lasted only 7 days. The jury took 2 hours to reach its verdict. She was cleared not only of murder, but also of manslaughter.
Oh, wow.
She was free to go.
So, because she'd spoken to the Popo about the domestic violence and stuff, like, they must have had some good evidence of that sort of thing happening if they're going to let her go. People, like, courts are not in the habit of just letting women go because they say something happened, as we fucking well know. Wow.
So the Melbourne Age reported, after the jury's verdict, the trial judge, Mr. Justice Adam, directed that Vilma be discharged. Dressed in black with a black scarf around her neck, she put her hand to her face and wept as she was led from the dock.
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, that's great, especially for her kids. Like, she gets to raise them.
Absolutely, and that was the last I could find of her.
Wow. I wonder if she stayed in Australia.
Yeah, if she went back to Poland or Hungary, or she probably stayed in Australia because her kids were born here.
Maybe. I mean, it's all just going to be speculation, isn't it?
She could be still alive. Those kids would be alive.
She could be listening to us right now.
She could be. Maybe she changed her name to get away from the press. And
she changed her name to Paula Abdul. And
Really?
she didn't want to watch American Idol because she used to be on it, but they sacked her.
Well.
Yeah, no, that doesn't hold water, really, does it? Wow. That's really, really unusual. And I'm really happy for her kids' sake that they let her out so that she could raise them and they weren't just, I don't know, put into institutions or something.
I wonder how much of a language of English she knew, you know.
Oh, yeah, because it makes a massive difference, obviously.
If she had nowhere to go. Though she'd reported him to the police before.
That doesn't mean she needs great English. She
I
could
don't
have
think-
just pointed out injuries or
I
something.
don't think, hitting your fella over the head with a hammer 4 times, is really the answer, but...
Well, no, it's not ideally the answer, no. It depends on what those acts were. It depends on everything. Everything's it.
Well,
it
sounds like
depends,
she was
isn't it?
doing it for her kids as well as herself. I think it's just strange that we have a murderer that we actually support.
Yeah, that is really unusual. We normally hate those fuckers. But, assuming that... And look, I am assuming that it's probably true because it would be very unlikely for the court to just fall for it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise. So, yeah, okay. Team Velma.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was slightly less depressing than normal.
Yeah. Time for an Aussie Az?
Yes, Aussie Az.
Shit in a bucket.
Oh, for fuck's sake. These are quintessentially Australian-flavoured crime stories. So 2 teens allegedly broke into a house and stole belongings from a Perth family, including the mother's mobile phone. Weeks later, investigators had failed to track down the culprits. That was until the duo began to take selfies on the stolen mobile phone's camera, which they didn't realise were being uploaded to the mother's iCloud account.
Oh, those shite lads that took my phone.
She's
it's
not-
up on my iMac. It's up on me. It's up on my computer
she's
now.
Not Irish. She's not Irish.
She's up on my computer now. Those shite lads that took my phone.
I noticed photos on my iPhone through streaming, the mother, who did not want to be named, said. I had both my stolen iPhone and iPad hooked through my Apple account and connected through the iCloud. It showed those 2 boys taking selfies. They looked like Dumb and Dumber, all right. The mother, who was left devastated after the thieves stole a hard drive with irreplaceable photos and videos of her children on it, posted one of the images of the smiling pair online, asking if anyone recognised them. They took my lifetime worth of memories, she said. Go on, do it.
Those shite lads, I took my lifetime of memories.
There we
Mother
go.
Mary of Christ.
Her own detective work within hours apparently led to police attending a house in Penrith South on Wednesday afternoon. They got the photos of the duo today and matched them, this is what she said, and matched them to the same names I was given via Facebook. So they got caught because they were taking selfies, which is dicky. But apparently Perth is no stranger to these kinds of things. Recently, 2 men tried to hold up a pharmacy in Perth South and accidentally foiled their own plans after one squirted himself in the face with pepper spray and the other cut himself with a knife while he was threatening the staff.
Oh, I got me pepper spray around the wrong way and I sprayed myself in the eyes and I can't see now. Oh, how sharp is this knife? Oh, I cut myself. I'm bleeding a bit.
Okay, you know, if everyone's Irish, it weakens it, right? You know,
Really?
it's a little bit less special
There are Irish people in
if
Perth.
everyone is Irish.
All right.
I'm going to hit you in the head with the Blarney Stone. So anyway, the knuckle-headed pair allegedly escaped the Shoalwater scene. And you know the only thing they got away with? Sleep apnea masks. They probably didn't even have sleep apnea.
Shite in a bucket. What am I going to do with these sleep apnea masks? They're useless to me.
Why have you descended into it just like crazy Irish voice? What's going on? Did you rewatch The Commitments recently?
I've had a long week.
Yeah?
I really have.
And this is how it manifests, with you like energetically sprouting Irish phrases.
That's right. It's the red briar or the blue wire. Which one do I cut?
I don't remember that in The Commitments. All right, we probably better end this soon before like everything just becomes Irish forever.
Good as yes.
Yes. More like an Irish as, but okay.
I've been Barney Black.
I am still Tara Saraman.
And we just did some bloody murder.
Please don't forget to review us on iTunes.
And of course, rate and subscribe. It really helps us grow.
It really does. Join our Facebook group if you want. I mean, I'm not going to force you. It's called Bloody Murder Podcast, and it's really fun. It is really rocking now.
It is fun.
I fucking love that group, and thanks to everyone who's already in it too.
Absolutely. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Bloody Murder Pod.
And also, Barney's got his own. It's at Barney Danger.
And check out our merch store. That's at Threadless.
Yeah, we'll have to put something on that, won't we?
Well, no, by the time you hear this, we'll have heaps of stuff up. I've been working on some really cool stuff.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back again next week.
Goodbye and adios.
And keep kicking against the pricks.
Oh, to be sure.
I knew you were going to do that.
They had the intercom on in the room, and they kept lying that it wasn't on, and they were using sonic pressure on my head since 1997.